Hi, my name is Dan, and this video is one in a series that I'm doing about AI in the Unreal Engine. And we finally come to the point where I'm going to try and explain these nodes in behavior trees, which are sequence and selector nodes. So the setup that I've got is a standard third-person template with a few things added. I've got a character that was created in an earlier video. I've got a AI controller created in an earlier video. I've got a behavior tree created in the last video. I've got a task for the behavior tree that was created in the last video. And what's running at the moment is that it will do this task over and over again, which is just to print hello to the screen. There we go. So if you don't understand what those things are that I've just been talking about, you need to watch the earlier videos. Okay, so in this video, we're going to open up the behavior tree and have a look at those nodes. But before we do that, we're going to make some changes to this task. So what I want, in order to demonstrate well what's going on, is I want a task where I can print a message and then delay. So there'll be a pause between each message, and then this finish execute has this node pin on it, success. So it's outputting whether something succeeded or not. And I want to be able to configure that as well. So I want to have three things that are configurable. And it's just like a blueprint class in that we can have variables that we can expose. So I'm going to create three variables here. We're going to have the message. And I'm going to be tidy and get rid of that capital. And we're going to have the delay. And we're going to have the success. So success is a Boolean. We need to change these other two. The delay is a floating point number. Change that to float. And the message needs to be a string. And these need to be exposed so they can be changed for individual instances. And so compile so that it brings up the defaults here. Message, I'm going to have a default message of, well, let's leave it as hello, why not? And the delay, I'm going to have a default of 1 second. It's not too bad. And success, we're going to have true by default. Okay. And so we need to insert, we'll do the printing of the message first and then the delay. So put a delay node in here. And I do like the way that Unreal interjects that nicely between the two other nodes. And we're just going to pull out getters for these three pieces of information which are going to be used in the three nodes. So that's going to print the message. That's going to print the duration. Not print the duration, pause the duration. And that's going to give us our success. Okay. So that now should be changed so that by default it's just doing the same task over and over again. So that'll be hello, but it'll be doing it once every second. And actually, because it's got a 2-second duration for the text, you just see that tiny flick as the one disappears and the next one appears. Okay. So we're going to go into the behavior tree, because this is what we were really wanting to be doing, was looking at the sequences and the selectors. So I'm going to remove this arrow by holding the Alt key and clicking the left mouse button, which also works in blueprint classes. And I'm going to have three instances of this coming out of the sequence, and I'm going to create a second sequence and have three coming out of that as well. 1, 2, 3, and I'll wire this up in a minute. And I'm also going to put a selector in here. So what I'm hoping to do is to be able to explain these nodes by demonstration, by showing you what actually happens. Yes, that I can pull in that direction. I didn't actually know if that was possible. I'm just going to wire this all up. So we've got this selector, and it will go through the selector down here to the sequence 1, 2, 3, and then through here 1, 2, 3. And I hope in your head you're starting to think about what might happen and to predict the behavior. So the last thing I want to do is to take each one of these and give it a different message so we can tell them apart. I'm just going to type in the numbers 1 to 6, 2, 3. So what do you think is going to happen? Last one coming up. 6. So, I wonder what you think is the logical thing for this behavior to show. Let's actually show it and see what it actually does do. So, we're looking at the text up at the top left here, and it's going 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. So the left-hand side is running all 3 of these task nodes in sequence 1, 2, 3. So the sequence, that makes sense, is doing each one in turn. 1, 2, 3. The selector must be doing something odd, though, because we're getting 1, 2, 3, and we're not going down this side. Okay. So let's explain the sequence first. What a sequence node will do is it will try to execute all of the tasks that are coming out underneath it, or any other nodes that are below, because there may be sequences and selectors below here as well. So it will try down all its paths. And as long as it's getting the message that things are successful, it will keep going. So in fact, if we take this first one and we uncheck the success on there, then the first task this tries, the message it will get back is that it's failed. Excuse me. So I'll save that. We'll demonstrate what happens there. 1, 4, 5, 6. 1, 4, 5, 6. So that's interesting because we've now got the right-hand part of the tree working, but these 2 here aren't working. So let's complete the explanation for the sequence. What it will do is it will try to execute all of the tasks underneath it, and as long as it gets success, it will keep trying one after another. As soon as a task returns failed, so that's success is false, it gives up. And it gives a message back to whatever's above it saying, I have failed. So the sequence regards it as a failure if it doesn't get through all of its tasks. Okay. What's then happening at the selector is that the selector is lazy. And it's actually trying to find, it only needs one of the nodes underneath it to succeed. But it's going to try them in turn until it gets a success. So it's kind of the opposite. So it will try each path down below it by going down the path with execution, and if that has succeeded, it will then say, that's fine, I only needed one to happen, I have fulfilled my job, and it sends a message, success, back up the tree. So when we have this set so that all of these do success, just save that, the execution is coming through the selector and it's going, now I want to have a successful task. It's coming down to the sequence. The sequence is going, I want everything to work. So it does this one task which prints out 1, does this task which prints out 2, does this task which prints out 3. All of these have returned successful to sequence. And sequence thinks, I have succeeded. I have done everything I wanted. So it returns success up to the selector. But the selector is lazy. It only needs one success for it to stop. As soon as it succeeds, it then says, right, I've succeeded as well, and it sends success back up the tree to the next root above it. So, right, to repeat that again, sequence tries each one from left to right of the paths that come up below it. As long as they are all succeeding, it will keep trying the next one. When it gets to the end, if they've all been successful, it returns success. If at any point one of them returns failure, it gives up and it returns failure up to the next level up on the tree. The selector effectively does the opposite, which is as long as it keeps getting failure, it will keep trying one after another. If it gets to the end and none of them have succeeded, it will return fail up to the node above it. If at any point it gets a success from a node below it, then it will immediately return success back up and not bother trying the rest. Just repeat that once more. Sequence will keep trying, and as long as it keeps getting success, it keeps going, and then it returns success when it's finished. If at any point you get a failure, it stops and returns fail. Selector you can describe in exactly the opposite way. As long as it keeps getting failure, it will report back. It will keep trying the nodes. If they all fail, it will report back fail. If at any point it gets success message coming up from one of its paths, it immediately stops and reports success back upwards. Okay. I found this really, really hard to get my head round. And it took me a long time to work this out. One of the problems that I found with other videos that are out there for doing AI in Unreal is that almost all of them that I found just told you how to do the setups, which values to do, and didn't explain what was going on. What I'm trying to do is to give you a hopefully clear explanation of what these two nodes do, the sequence and the selector nodes. However, I strongly suggest that you go back through this process that I've done, set up a task like this one, which you can see what's going on and report, where you can configure the message and you can configure the success or the failure, and try different things. Try to predict what's going to happen. You could set up a tree that's just like this. It's quite a good tree for testing these things out. Try to predict, try to make different behavior happen. See if you can get what's happening. There's no substitute for actually playing with this yourself. What I'm just going to do kind of finally is I'm going to chuck in a couple of changes here. I'm going to make this one fail. And why not the middle one here fail as well? So that's success, fail, success, success, fail, success. Can you predict what's going to happen? I'm trying to think it through in my head. Have I got it right? I'm not going to tell you because maybe I'll pretend that I got it right in my head. I think it's going to go 1, 2, 4, 5. Let's see. 4, 5. 1, 2, 4, 5. 1, 2. Right, so the challenge for you going back into this tree is why? Why does it do that? Quick explanation then. There's the path that's coming down. It's the path execution is coming down here. The selector, remember, the selector is lazy. It only needs one success, and then it will report back and say it succeeded. It's coming down here to the sequence. The sequence is thorough, and it wants everything to succeed before it will say it's had a success. So it tries this one here, which says 1. That returns success. So it will continue. It will try the second one. That says 2, but it fails. And as soon as the sequence knows it can't do everything successfully, it then says, I'm giving up, and it sends a message back up this execution arrow saying, I have failed. The selector says, oh, swear word, I wanted the first one to work, I'm going to have to keep trying. So it tries the next path down to this next sequence. The sequence is thorough, it wants everything to succeed, so it does this one. That one succeeds, that's 4. Comes down here, 5 fails. The sequence gives up because it's failed, and it sends failure back up here to the selector. And that's one cycle through. It then starts the whole cycle again from the root. I hope you're going to start getting a hold of us. As I said before, you really probably should be trying this out yourself if you haven't done something. This is a great set of nodes to do some experimentation with. In the next video and the next few videos on that, we're going to take a scenario for the AI and try and achieve something specific. But that's it from me for now.